Chloe, your mom told me you didn't want to dance anymore.
I was 9, so I understand why I was feeling overwhelmed.
We're going to be making a music video.
Little Chloe, you should be proud of yourself.
I finally did it. I made it.
Dance Moms, the reunion. All about siwa. Once upon a pirouette. Before there was drama, divas, and dance moms hurling insults across the studio, there was Chloe. Quiet, graceful, and painfully overlooked, Chloe kcas was one of the original ALDC girls who captured the hearts of fans from the very beginning. With her doe eyes, ethereal movement, and sweet disposition, she seemed like the perfect contrast to the chaos unfolding around her. But don't let the soft exterior fool you. Chloe's journey through Dance Moms was nothing short of a storm. From season 1, she was framed as the underdog, locked in a never-ending silent battle with Abby's golden girl, Maddie Ziegler. But here's the truth. While Abby tried to pit them against each other, Chloe never needed to compete. Her artistry spoke for itself. She didn't have to be loud. She didn't have to be chosen every week. She just danced, and left audiences stunned every time. Christy, Chloe's fiery and fiercely protective mom, saw the writing on the wall early. She clocked Abby's favoritism before most viewers did, and she wasn't afraid to call it out loudly. Where Abby would heap praise on Maddie for a minor head tilt, Chloe would execute flawless turns and be met with backhanded compliments, or worse, total silence. It wasn't just favoritism, it was psychological warfare. And yet, week after week, Chloe smiled through it, nailed her routines, and earned a fanbase that still rides hard for her over a decade later. Let's not forget the early standout performances. Her lyrical solos were poetic, emotional, and haunting. Dream on a Star, Black Swan, and Dreaming with a Broken Heart weren't just routines, they were masterpieces. Abby might have tried to bury her under the pressure, but Chloe kept rising. The real gag? Even when Chloe was put in group dances choreographed to hide her strengths, she still managed to shine. Whether she was shoved to the back line or given a half solo in duets, her lines, her technique, and that unmistakable Chloe elegance couldn't be ignored. Behind the scenes, things weren't so polished. Chloe endured years of criticism not just as a dancer, but as a person. Her posture, her appearance, her emotions, all critiqued by an adult who seemed determined to break her spirit. But Chloe didn't break. She endured. She danced like her soul depended on it, and maybe for a while it did. Living in Maddie's shadow but shining anyway, second place is the first to lose, Abby's favorite phrase, and Chloe's entire Dance Moms experience summed up in one cruel sentence. Chloe lived in what the show painted as Maddie's shadow. Week after week, she was the almost girl. Almost won. Almost perfect. Almost Abby's favorite. And yet, somehow Chloe emerged as the true star in the eyes of fans. Because while Maddie was being handed solos and opportunities, Chloe was clawing her way to the top with raw talent, vulnerability, and the kind of quiet resilience that made her impossible not to root for. Let's talk about that infamous rivalry. Abby created it. The girls never asked for it. In fact, Chloe and Maddie were friends, good friends, outside of the pressure cooker. But the show pushed a narrative. Abby fed into it, and the moms? Well, they ran with it. Christy and Melissa were cordial at best, icy at worst, and the tension trickled down to their daughters. Chloe never asked to be Maddie's competition. She was just trying to dance. And yet, she kept getting second place. Again and again. And what made it worse? Those wins often felt earned. Chloe would pour her heart into a lyrical solo, only to lose to Maddie's less emotional acro number. It wasn't about who danced better. It was about who Abby had decided to crown that week. But here's where Chloe flipped the script. She didn't lash out. She didn't play dirty. She danced harder. She stayed humble. She let her performances do the talking. That's why, despite the show's edit, the fans started to see the truth. Chloe wasn't in Maddie's shadow. She was being actively dimmed. By the time Nationals rolled around in season 4, the pressure had reached a boiling point. Maddie was given a solo, surprise, surprise, and Chloe was handed leftover choreography. It was sabotage, plain and simple. Abby's disdain had reached a new level, and Christy was done playing nice. What should have been a celebration turned into a funeral for Chloe's ALDC career. And still, Chloe delivered one of her best performances that season. Because that's what she did. No matter the circumstances, she rose above it. No tears. No tantrums. Just art. The Great Escape. Chloe and Christy walk away. If you were watching Dance Moms live when it aired, you remember exactly where you were when Chloe and Christy walked out for the last time. It wasn't a dramatic exit with fireworks and screaming. Well, maybe a little. It was something quieter. More emotional. Like watching someone finally realize they deserve better. Chloe didn't storm out. She just stopped showing up. And Christy? She said what we were all thinking. The final straw came when Abby pushed too far again. Whether it was calling Chloe washed up, mocking her eye condition, or rewriting dance assignments at the last minute, Abby had crossed 1,000 lines. And Christy? She was done. I'm not going to let you treat my child like that, she snapped. And with that, they were gone. No goodbye solo. No dramatic showdown. Just a pair of heels clicking off stage and the door slamming behind them. What came next was just as powerful. Chloe went radio silent. No Instagram callouts. No interviews blasting the show. Just quiet healing. When she did speak out, it was measured and mature. She explained how the show affected her mental health, how Abby's criticism stuck with her, and how she had to unlearn everything she was taught about her worth. But make no mistake, fans were furious. Social media exploded. Justice for Chloe trended. Edits of her best solos flooded YouTube. Christy became a fan favorite overnight, praised for protecting her daughter when nobody else would. The show moved on without them, but it wasn't the same. A core piece of Dance Moms was gone, and fans felt the absence in every episode that followed. The reunion fallout. Old wounds, new drama. When the reunion trailer dropped and fans saw Chloe walk into that room again, jaws hit the floor. The girl who walked out in season 4 came back a woman. Poised, polished, and still very much carrying the weight of what went down all those years ago. And let's be honest, everyone in that room felt it. There was a palpable shift when Chloe entered. You could practically hear the tension humming under the surface. Abby tried to keep her cool, but she looked like she'd seen a ghost. Because let's not forget, Abby never apologized. Not for the sabotage. Not for the insults. Not for trying to break Chloe's spirit in front of millions. And Chloe? She didn't need to raise her voice. She just sat there, composed, letting everyone else squirm. Insiders say the reunion wasn't all hugs and forgiveness. Chloe held back, strategically. She didn't go in guns blazing, but there were moments. Moments where she didn't hide the pain. Moments where she looked Abby dead in the eye and said everything without saying a word. A single raised eyebrow from Chloe said more than 100 angry Christy rants. Christy versus Abby, round 754. You knew Christy wasn't going to let the reunion pass without at least one iconic mic drop. When Abby started rewriting history, downplaying the favoritism, pretending Chloe was always given chances, Christy snapped. She didn't yell this time. She smirked and said, "Funny, that's not how I remember it. Or how America remembers it." Boom. Silence. And when Abby tried to suggest that Chloe didn't have the star quality that Maddie did, Christy let out a laugh so cold it could freeze the studio mirrors. Let's be real. Christy had the receipts, and she wasn't afraid to use them. Fans online were losing it. Tweets like, "Christy is the mom we all needed," and Abby rewriting history like we don't have the footage were trending within minutes. Backstage whispers. Maddie regrets. Now, this one's more hush-hush, but the whispers were loud after filming. Maddie allegedly pulled Chloe aside to talk privately. What was said? Nobody knows for sure. But sources claim it was emotional and that both girls left with red eyes and tight hugs. Could it be closure? Could it be regret? Could it be Maddie realizing just how complicit she was, even unintentionally, in Abby's narrative? No cameras caught the convo, but fans are dying to know what went down. Some say it was the first real conversation they've had in years. The legacy Chloe, then and now. What makes Chloe so legendary isn't just the talent, it's the transformation. From the soft-spoken girl who was constantly dismissed, to the confident, self-assured young woman who walked back into that reunion like a queen returning to reclaim her throne. She's doing college, writing poetry, acting, modeling, basically living her best post-ALDC life. And through it all, she stayed real. No shade throwing, No petty drama, just class. Which is why fans still say it loud and proud. Chloe was the real star all along.